Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the hidden reality of scaling Forex payment gateways for 2026 and beyond. For years, this industry has looked at payments as just, a technical necessity, right? Just a box to check off. But as we're going to see through the data today, that landscape is shifting dramatically. If you're looking to scale in the modern era, the old playbook is absolutely officially broken. Let's get right into it.
All right, let's start by busting a massive industry misconception right out of the gate. It's this incredibly common, but totally false, assumption that cheap fees and fast onboarding automatically equal the best payment solution. Most Forex brokers operate under this exact premise. They're out there hunting for the absolute lowest cost per transaction, thinking that optimizing margins at checkout is the secret to scaling. But there's this fascinating paradox here. That exact mindset, it's exactly why so many brokers actually struggle to scale. They're just optimizing for the totally wrong metric.
So we end up with this massive disconnect between what brokers are chasing and what actually matters in the real world. A lot of folks get completely distracted by shiny objects. You know what I mean? Lower fees, lightning-fast onboarding, fancy dashboards with all the bells and whistles. It becomes all about features and immediate cost-cutting. But while they're looking at that, they completely ignore the fundamental pillars: trust and brand reputation. Because in 2026, the absolute best payment gateway isn't just about moving money cheaply, it's fundamentally about trust.
And that brings us to a concept that honestly hits so hard. Cheap can become expensive fast. Choosing some unknown payment service provider strictly because they offer rock-bottom pricing, it's literally like buying a discount parachute. The savings are definitely not worth the operational risk. Think about it. Fast onboarding means absolutely zero if the entire system breaks a month later. And when things go wrong, and let's be real, in complex financial systems, they absolutely can and do, an unknown provider gives you and your clients zero reassurance. You might have saved a fraction of a percent on a transaction fee, but you just bought yourself a ridiculously expensive disaster in customer confidence.
You can actually see how quickly this turns into a total cascade of failure. It almost always starts with payment problems. Maybe it's a rejected transaction or a delayed withdrawal. Well, traders remember those glitches vividly, and that immediately triggers a massive loss of trust. Suddenly, the broker's brand feels super risky, and that sparks negative reviews and total panic. And naturally, what happens next? Integrations stall out because other partners hesitate, and ultimately growth just grinds to a complete halt. So yeah, the tech might have been super cheap, but the brand damage, it stops expansion cold. The good news is, top brokers are finally waking up to a critical paradigm shift. They're realizing that payments are actually your trust infrastructure. They are the absolute bedrock of a broker's reputation. Your payment stability is directly, inextricably tied to how your brand is perceived and whether a trader actually trusts you. And when brokers finally realize this, it completely flips how they evaluate potential payment partners. You aren't just buying some software solution off the shelf anymore, you are buying the very foundation of your reputation.
Look, in the hyper-competitive Forex market, the old status quo, relying on hype, endless feature lists, and aggressive pricing, is totally dead. The 2026 reality is what's going to separate the winners from the losers. Stability beats hype, reputation beats features, and above all else, trust completely beats pricing. You could literally have the flashiest, most futuristic dashboard in the world, but if your platform isn't stable, the modern trader is going to walk away and they will never look back.
To really grasp why this is happening, we have to put ourselves in the trader's mindset. Above anything else, traders judge brokers by withdrawals. That is the ultimate moment of truth. Everything else is just, numbers on a screen until that withdrawal actually clears into their bank account. Because of that, a broker's reputation is entirely chained to their payment gateway's reputation. And in this high-stakes environment, before any integration even happens, brokers are actively Googling the payment service provider. They are researching your reputation. If you're invisible online, you're seen as risky. Your visibility literally dictates whether a partnership lives or dies. It really all boils down to three simple words: trust drives deposits. It really is that straightforward, yet somehow it's so often overlooked. In the Forex space, perception drives trust, and trust is the one and only driver of actual revenue. If a trader feels safe, if they see smooth withdrawals and clear trust badges, they're going to deposit. You simply cannot growth hack your way around a lack of trust. It is the absolute prerequisite for everything else. So that naturally leads us to the big question, right? If trust is literally everything, and being unknown is a massive operational risk, how exactly do you build that trusted reputation? I mean, if you don't stay relevant just by existing, how do you stay visible? Well, this is exactly where public relations comes in and completely changes the game. And to be clear, we are not talking about PR as some fluffy vanity metric here. We are talking about it as a hard, foundational business strategy.
See, PR is no longer just a promotional tool. It's actually a vital risk reduction engine. When a broker is sitting there deciding who to trust with their client's money, a strong media presence actively reduces the perceived risk. It creates real industry authority and distinct credibility. Good PR takes a sterile, totally invisible payment provider and transforms them into a trusted brand that brokers actually want to sign deals with.
Let's break down the exact input-to-output formula for how this actually works in practice. When you issue press releases, the resulting value is real authority in the market. You're establishing your voice. Then, when you secure third-party media coverage, you gain incredible credibility because other respected voices are validating that you exist. And when you maintain that consistent visibility over time, you generate serious long-term trust, becoming a permanent, reliable fixture in the industry ecosystem. Now, I want you to contrast that earlier cascade of failure we talked about with this incredible trajectory of growth. It all starts with visibility. Getting your brand out there naturally builds trust. And because brokers recognize you and feel safe, they start actively pushing for integrations. They actually want to partner with you. And that is what ultimately unlocks massive global growth. It's literally the blueprint for transforming from some unknown provider into a globally trusted infrastructure brand.
So, looking ahead to the absolute winners of 2026, here is your definitive takeaway. The successful payment service providers won't just be utility pipes that process payments in the background. No, they will actively protect trust. The providers who capture all the market share will be the brands that brokers already recognize and trust long before an integration discussion even begins. They'll be the ones who did the foundational PR work so that their brand reputation walks into every single meeting before they even open their mouths. As we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with a final thought to really chew on. Ask yourself, will your payment brand be instantly recognized in the market, or will it be seen as a huge operational risk? Because, as we've seen today, to drive true integrations and real deposits, you simply cannot afford to be invisible anymore. You have to actively build your visibility to ensure your infrastructure is seen as a true, trusted partner. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember, your reputation really is your ultimate infrastructure.